awesome weather again today. There's going to be a ton of people walking outside too because there's an event. And what I read today, how about this one with a story of drones being used around beaches? I guess nature isn't cooperating. This one here says, on NYC beaches, angry birds fight drones patrolling for sharks and struggling swimmers. How's that? As it says here, a fleet of drones patrolling New York City's beaches for signs of sharks and struggling swimmers is drawing backlash from an aggressive group of seaside residents, local shorebirds. Since the drones began flying in May, flocks of birds have repeatedly swarmed the devices, forcing the police department and other city agencies to adjust their flight plans. While the attacks have slowed, they have not stopped completely, fueling concern from wildlife experts about the impact on threatened species nesting along the coast. Veronica Welch, a wildlife coordinator at the Parks Department, said the birds were, quote, very annoyed by the drones from the moment they arrived on the beach. They will fly at it, they'll swoop at it, they'll be vocalizing, Welch said. They think they're defending their chicks from a predator. No birds have been harmed, but officials say there have been several close calls. The drones, which come equipped with inflatable life rafts that can be dropped on distressed swimmers, have yet to conduct any rescues. They spotted their first shark on Thursday, resulting in a closure of most of the beach. City officials said the swarming incidents have been primarily carried out by American oyster catchers. The shorebird, known for its striking orange bill, lays its egg this time of the year in the sand on Rockaway Beach. By the sounds of it, they may just continue with it and hope that the animals just get used to it per se, because it says the birds eventually may grow habituated to the devices, which can stretch over 3 feet long and emit a loud hum as they take flight, said David Bird, a professor of wildlife biology at McGill University. But he was quick to raise a far more desired possibility that the drones could prompt a stress response in some birds that causes them to flee the beach and abandon their eggs, as several thousand elegant terns did following a recent drone crash in San Diego. So again, it's kind of interesting where it sounds like they're just going to keep doing it because I suppose for them it's worth it to have the drones being used in this way, which gets you to think, because a lot of times they say ban all drones because it affects animals, but clearly there's a double standard of sort in terms of who can and can't, quote, disturb animals in that sense. Although at the same time, even from my experience, a lot of animals, they get used to certain things, like say a drone, where once they realize it's not a threat, they just ignore it for the most part, which you guys have seen from my captures as an example. So in that sense, I would say it probably will be a situation where they get used to it. Apparently that was in the past too, when people were driving cars. They were saying, for example, never ride it near a horse because it makes them, excited. It makes them go out of their control. But then look what we did afterwards. So I wouldn't doubt if overall that's how it's going to be, where they'll get used to it. But at the same time, again, it shows you, depending on who you are, I guess, they'll be allowed to use it in those circumstances. And then how about this one in terms of, I guess, drones being used to spy on people and so forth? This one says, tormented China husband tracks wife with drones, discovers tries with boss in remote hut. It makes me wonder about the legality of this. It says a suspicious husband in China who used a drone to discover that his wife was having a secret affair has trended on mainland social media. The 33-year-old surnamed Jing embarked on the high-tech surveillance mission after his wife became cold towards him last year. Sometimes she intentionally ignored him, said Jing, who lives in Xi'an in central Hubei province, the news outlet NetEase reported. A number of unusual events in his wife's life, such as changes in her position at work and the number of times she said she was going to visit her parents, heightened Jing's concerns. Tormented with suspicion, Jing decided to employ a drone to track his wife's movement. And I guess with that, he basically got the evidence that he needed, per se. Because it says here, the surveillance footage revealed that the wife, surnamed Wu, got into a car which took her to a remote mountain. There, she was seen walking hand in hand with another man and disappearing into a dilapidated mud house. About 20 minutes later, they walked out of the building and drove to the factory where Wu works. Jing says the evidence he gathered from the drone will be used to secure a divorce. Her other man is her boss. The wife of the boss also works in the same factory, so it is inconvenient for them to have an affair there. So my wife was forced to meet him in the wild, Jing was quoted as saying. The disloyal wife's lies being exposed by a drone have sparked much interest on mainland social media. It was a good idea to buy a drone. Without this tool, Jing would have never known he was being betrayed. That's the magical function of the technology, one person quipped on Weibo. Another online observer said, in this era of high tech, any lie will be debunked, so couples should stick to their principles of loyalty. And again, I wonder about the legality. I know just in general, let's just say if you're using a regular camera, it would be okay, but with how drones are so restricted in so many places, let's just pretend he flew in a restricted airspace and captured this. Would he actually be able to use that in court still and all that? But either way, would you promote the use of the tech in ways like this, for example, to catch people if they're cheating? All right, see you guys later.